You're listening to the One Step Deeper podcast with your host, Jimmy Moore and Brittany Davis. OneStepDeeperPodcast.com.
I had a birthday party last weekend, and I had Miss Brittany there. Of course, I better have my best friend there. I told you that if you couldn't come, I think I was going to cry. But man, that was so much fun. Had about 40 people there. Had lots of my fans there, and all my well, not all my friends, but all the friends that could make it come. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, me and Wild Man, we had so much fun being there with everybody and just had so many good connections. Like, obviously, we came for you, but just being able to meet everybody and have connections, it was really, really cool. It was a great party. You did a great job, Jimmy.
Yes. I can throw a party. With a little money, you can do anything, I guess. Well, I just before we got on the air, sent you like a series of messages that I had gotten on Instagram, and I thought, man, how does this parlay into what we're talking about here today in episode 58, all about criticism is an opportunity. And what's funny is when you and I were discussing that topic, it came up because you like felt so sick that I was getting all these comments from people, but then there were other things in your own life that you were noticing, and you're like, we got to address this idea because a lot of people have a visceral reaction to criticism, and instead of looking at it as bad, you look at it as an opportunity. That's a nice little one step deeper reframe there, Miss Brittany.
Yes, as always, right?
Yes, so I'm excited to get into that here today on the show. OneStepDeeperPodcast.com is the website. Go over there. You can see all the past episodes and listen to all the past episodes. We're up to 58 episodes now. So it's like we got quite the backlist. I was on an interview the other day with Bella from Steak and Butter Gal, and she said, so wow, your brand new podcast, it just came out, right? And I was like, sweetie, we've been out over a year. So
yeah. I guess it depends on what you consider new.
Yes. Yeah. We're out of the honeymoon phase when it comes to doing a podcast. Once you're established and got 50 episodes and been on a year, yeah, you're legit now. So go over to the website. You can check us out. We do debut these on Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern. Go on YouTube on Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern. Last Sunday, you might have noticed it wasn't up there. So we're going to definitely have it up there for you this Sunday. YouTube was screwing with my account last week, so I apologize for all of you who were looking for it at 4 o'clock and it wasn't there, but it will be there this week. We also put it up on Instagram and on Facebook on Sundays at 4 p.m. Then on Monday, if you want to listen to the podcast, it is a traditional podcast, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Alexa, wherever you get your podcasts, you can do that. You can also leave us a review over at Apple Podcasts, and that really helps. We've gotten about 16 reviews now. Most of you are quiet. You just put the little star, and we appreciate that. But we want some written out ones because we know you like the show. You keep listening. So, and then yes, follow Brittany at becoming.Brittany Lee. You see how I elongated that so I could get all that on the screen. So go follow her on Instagram is what that is. She puts up the tidbit, which is a little 15-minute tidbit on Sundays. Or you can go to my page at Living Low Carb Man. And on Fridays, I put up the tidbit, but then I do a little 1-minute reel from our podcast. A lot of those are getting a lot of views lately. And so trying to tickle their fancy, get them into One Step Deeper. And of course, you guys, we're still in the process. It's a slow road, but you know what? Slow and good is better than fast and horrible. And that applies in a lot of areas of life. So we will just leave that right there and go right into the show here in episode 58. Criticism, I've been a public figure for a long time, and I've gotten a ton of criticism. I would say probably far more than most in this diet and health community. And at first it was like, okay, they don't know me. So I have to I have to go back at them and then, and it's like, no, it's an opportunity. I love what we're doing here this week because you can turn it around. Yes, you can take it hard. Yes, you can let it eat away at you. Oh my gosh, they don't know me. Oh my, but you can say, you know what? I'm going to use it as an opportunity to show my character and to give them some help that maybe they don't realize they need. And this person here that we were talking about just before we came on the air, he left one more message, like right at the end. I didn't actually send that one to you because he literally just sent it at the end. He's like, I'm sorry I was an a-hole to you. I really didn't mean to come across that way. And da 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 da. And all it took was me being willing to see that criticism as an opportunity to say my piece and be kind about it and bring things to his attention. And then he turned it around. And that doesn't always happen. A lot of people are very prideful. And this guy was prideful for a few messages until this last one. So I think it dawned on him, holy crap, wow. He had to go one step deeper in his thought process to figure that out.
Yeah, criticism just opens the door. And I mean, obviously, as we always do, we're going to hit this on several different areas. We're going to go all deep. But like just this one instance, you know, the fact that you were willing to accept the criticism that you were receiving, and then I wouldn't even really call it criticism, but you were just like, hey, I'm not backing down. Like, I know who I am. I'm comfortable in who I am. And your criticism needs to have some merit for it to mean something. Number one, you're a random asshole on the internet. I don't know you. You aren't my friend. Who are you to message me? Do you have a degree? Do you have a license? Like, are you a doctor? Like, what? Are you offering actual advice? Or are you just giving me criticism and telling me, hey, you're this, you're that? You know, who are you? You know, who are you? And so you were giving that moment to push back to him and say, hey, who are you? You know, and that's not even to be rude. It's just like, dude, don't offer up criticism when you don't know somebody.
Well, and look, I think criticism can be powerful if delivered. Number one, if Brittany wrote all those exact same words, which you would never, because he said some things to and about me that you would never say to and about me. But like, you can couch criticism in language that doesn't sound like criticism. And it's not being sneaky. It's just being more kind. And that this is where the opportunity lies, guys. And I want to turn it to the people that criticize just for a second as well. So this person or anybody, if you are one of those people that's just judgmental and you write to people and you're hypercritical, number one, know who you're sending it to. It's always so funny to me that they'll write to me as if I'm just some schmuck on the internet. And it's like, I probably taught you all the things that you think you know now that you're now criticizing me about, because I've been out there a long time. Promise you, you probably learned that from me. In fact, just yesterday, somebody was like, you should try the egg fast. I said,
are you serious?
I said, I created that in 2009, right?
Oh no. Do a little research first.
It's amazing. I mean, it's the world we live in, though. People are very quick to criticize, and they don't analyze before they criticize, which is why I think, yes, do a little research first, but always come at it with, and the whole phrase, kill them with kindness, it's a thing, like, really be kind, over the top, kind, complimentary, and then kind at the end. And guess what? Receptivity. That opportunity becomes wide open at that point. Whereas the tactic this guy just took here today, it was just all, and there was no kindness, there was no compassion, there was no understanding that my experience might be different from his. It's really fascinating, this topic, when you kind of go one step deeper on it. But it goes both ways. Like, you're the criticizer, you have a duty and an opportunity about how you communicate it. And if you're the criticizee, which I tend to be every single day, I have lots of opportunities, Brittany, to exercise what we're talking about here today.
Yeah. And so, I wanted to touch on this. My Enneagram type is type 1. We are huge on criticism. Number one, at a healthy state, we can be critical of self and others without being harsh. But in our unhealthy states, we are extremely self-critical at all points, and we can become even so unhealthy in our state that we become hypercritical of other people. And so instead of seeing any flaws within ourselves, we only see flaws in other people. And because I have been all versions of what I just described, I have been the horrible person. I felt like it was my duty. It was my job to criticize people because I was so hard on myself, and I needed them to. They had to. My brother Brandon. He spent the most time with me. I have lots of siblings, but he spent the most time with me over the years. And I would just be so critical of him, mean, like over the top mean. He had this dream. He wanted to be a skateboarder. He was like 10. He was like 10, and so that would have made me like 14. And instead of going, yay, he's 10. I crushed his dreams. I was like, that's stupid. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You'll never do that. And I was so mean. And when my mom kind of like fussed at me about it, I was like, I'm confused. Like, what? Why is it a mean thing for me to tell him not to pursue that? I'm doing a good thing to tell him not to pursue that. That's stupid.
But you know what? Tony Hawk's brother probably did the same thing to him.
Right.
What happened?
And
he became the greatest skateboarder of all time.
Yeah, and so it's just like I have been the person.
And your brother got destroyed. So you can react one ways.
Yes. And so, my brother did get destroyed by the thing, and he's in, and it's not just the only situation. I was very hard on my brother for my brother. Years and years of criticism. If you're listening, B, I love you. I am sorry for those years, and you know that I have grown. And what I did at first was I took all of that criticism that I would throw to other people and then to myself. It was just like this gut punch blow of being so hard on myself. Jimmy, you've seen this. Still have days where I'm extremely hard on myself. And I've learned to grow past that too and use that even as an opportunity. So taking my brother and how hard I was on him and the criticism that happened there, I have taken that as an opportunity to go back to him, apologize, reach out, and let that be a connection point for us. And then all the criticism that I've given myself over the years, I've taken that as an opportunity for number one, growth. Growth comes from criticism sometimes. It's not pretty, it's not lovely, it's not great, but there is growth that can come from criticism. And so I've taken all that stuff on myself and pushed forward with growth.
Well, look, you had a lot of criticism in your life in your early years. Like I remember you telling the story about 8 years old, and that's why you're fat, because you had all the plate of desserts you were taking to your cousins. And then, you didn't get straight A's, just straight 100s. You got a 97, so you're not able to get rewarded for that. And so that was criticism towards you that was unjustified at a very early age. So your brain, your synapses kind of processed that and said, if you're not perfect, you need to be criticized. And so that's probably where that propensity, that 14-year-old Brittany Barwick said, you know what, 10-year-old little snotty nosed brother, skateboarding, get the heck out of here. And
yeah.
So he didn't take it as opportunity, he took it to heart. And when you take it to heart, it can devastate you. And I've had some people do that in my life, where I had different dreams, but then you get to a point where you take criticism in a more constructive way. Well, and this is something we need to talk about within this context. Why is criticism viewed as negative? Here's why. It's the package that it comes in. Going back to that guy that wrote me right before we came on the air. His package was really shitty. It was so gross, nasty, ugly. And look, I still take a gross, nasty, ugly comment like that and turn it around and see it as opportunity. And it did. It turned him around. And I was grateful for that. I haven't been able to respond to him, but I saw it when it came through right before we came on the air. And I was like, okay, See, that's why I do it, because people often say, well, just ignore the haters, block and delete them. And I'm like, but where's the opportunity when you do that? Like, I get it. Protect your mental health. And if you can't handle those things, I've been at this 18 years. If I was going to be hurt by this by now, I would have already been hurt and gone. So now I don't give a fuck anymore. So, but I do like to dig deeper and find out, why do people act that way? Why can't you be kind and loving? Because I always put that kind of verbiage in my responses. Just be human, be kind, loving, compassionate towards human. And sometimes just that wakes them up and they're like, holy crap. Then they see the opportunity.
I think, what you're saying, how you package that. I was even writing this down when I was thinking about it, is there's a difference in coming to somebody. I don't want to think about my children, because I would never, ever do either one of these circumstances with my children. But let's just say, a child brings you something and it's a piece of paper, maybe an older child, maybe like 14, 15, they can handle a little bit of criticism. Let's go that, like adolescent. They bring you something and it's a piece of art and you have the opportunity there to be like, that's ugly. Or
yeah.
You have, and that's a form of criticism. Is it brutal? Yeah, it's brutal.
For a kid,
is that going to help them? No. Is it packaged in a way that's going to help them? Hell no. But maybe you can look at that. Maybe you're an art teacher and you can say, okay, I see where you were going. Good avenue. Maybe we can do or add a little something here, or there's a little mistake right here. The paint's a little bumpy. Let's try to smooth that out. That's a better form of criticism, because within the criticism, the package, you're giving actual tactical things that they could do to make it better.
Right. And see, here's the thing. Criticism without the correction in a loving way, it's useless. There is no room for opportunity, because criticism, no solutions. It's like, what am I supposed to do with that? Because this guy here, going back to the first guy again, he was just like, well, you're not doing anything about your weight, so you must be, sneaking food, and you must be this, you must be that. And I'm going, okay, that's a lot of assumptions, number one. But like, what's your answer? Well, you need to do biohacking. I do more biohacking probably than any human being on the planet.
Yes, guys, almost every time we get off the podcast, Jimmy and I continue to talk, and he is forever on that dang vibration plate or in the hot tub, is hot tub biohacking?
Stress management, yeah.
Okay, stress management, yeah, or the massage chair or the ice bath. Like, Jimmy's always doing some form of biohacking. He really is.
Or taking a walk. We did that one day after the podcast too, yes. Did you go keto and thought you had to give up wine? Well, let me introduce you to Dry Farm Wines. It is the world's first sugar-free alcohol that is lower than your typical wines, organic, made at local farms that do it the right way. Most of the wines that you buy are from 3 really big companies, loaded with additives and preservatives, so many dozens of those kinds of things. You don't want all that junk in your wine. So go to dryfarmwines.com/Jimmy and they will ship you these wines. And just because you listen to this podcast, Dry Farm Wines is going to give you a bottle in your first order for just 1 cent. Go to dryfarmwines.com/Jimmy and you will get your bottle of wine for just 1 singular penny. Go check them out. Dry Farm Wines, you guys. It's wine o'clock somewhere. Let's go get some wine.
Always some form. And so, when people just like come into your comments, like specifically, I just get so sick to my stomach. This is a hard and this is a rule in my house. We do not comment or criticize, offer criticism of any shape, form, not constructive, not mean, none of it. When it comes to people's bodies, their shape, their food choices, what's on their plate, we don't talk about that. And I have specific reasons why, struggling with an eating disorder for so long in my life. That's a that's a point for me, but. Even outside of that, my kids and myself, none of us, we do not comment on other people's food choices or other people's body shapes or other people's ethnicity or other people's scars that they have on their body. And if you do, in my book, if you have just something within you that says, They're bigger. I'm going to comment on that. Fuck you. Fuck you. It's none of your business.
It's assumed that person doesn't know it. Like, newsflash, every big person knows they're big.
Or it's assumed that they actually care, because let's be honest, there are some people out there who love every single curve that they have, and bitch, you better. I am proud of you. If you love your body, love your body. Don't let society or some asshole on the internet try to tell you I'm upset. Try to tell you that you don't look good, or that you need to be a thinner version of yourself to be worthy. Because let me tell you something, Jimmy fucking Moore is Jimmy fucking Moore, and we're going to get taken down on YouTube because I'm cussing so much. But like, stop. Jimmy, in like this specific instance, Jimmy has knowledge past what you physically see on the outside. But even past that point, it doesn't matter. Like, and I think about myself and applying myself. Are there days when I am distraught and I can't control my own emotions, and I am a piece of mess on the floor of my closet crying? Yes. But does that day disqualify me from talking about all of the good things that I do know about this topic? Hell no, it doesn't. And it's just, I'm so upset. I need to calm down.
By the way, I wanted to, on the air, compliment all three of your girls. They made me homemade birthday cards that you sent with the gift that you and Wildman gave me for my birthday. And it was the sweetest thing. And yeah, there were a couple misspelled words. Who cares? It was beautiful. That's the charm of being a kid, is you can do that. Now, if you're kind of doing something formally for a school project or something, that's different. But if you're just like, happy birthday, Jimny, and it's like, it's no big deal that one of them did that. I'm trying to remember which one did that.
It was Darcy, because I was like, sweet. I had wrote it on the dry erase board so they could copy it. I was like, sweetheart, you know, it looks great. Looks great, honey. It looks wonderful. Jimmy will love it.
Jimmy loved it. Jimmy was like, I'm not criticizing that one freaking bit. That was beautiful. And yeah, next time I see them, I will give them a big hug. So
they'll appreciate it. But like, when it comes to criticism, there's really like, honestly, two different forms. And we kind of touched on it. When I looked up the definition, y'all, I am so book nerdy person. I have to look up the definitions of things. I love that kind of stuff. The first one was, criticism is expressing disapproval. To me, like, have you heard the TikTok or the reel of people like, this is a work of art, this is bullshit? Well, this is the bullshit. Okay, the work of art is the analysis and the judgment. That's the work of art. It's honestly one step deeper. If you really think about it, criticism of self is going one step deeper.
Yes. And how easy is it to just hurl a criticism without it being couched in kindness, compassion, like all those, think of criticism, think kindness, compassion, context, all of those matter when you're giving criticism. If you do it flippantly, you're going to look like this guy that was the a-hole that wrote to me today. And, it's unfortunate, because I always kind of make a joke. Wow, your mama must not have grown you very well to know how to talk to people. But here's what you should have said. So, and sometimes that corrective act, look, we got to bring this in, because we talk about this all the time. Trauma, it's a trauma response to be a criticizer.
Probably because you were criticized.
Yes, which I was thinking about you, that propensity that you had to criticize when you were 14. 14 was right smack dab in the middle of your trauma. And anything you were going through, read the book, guys. You'll see what she was going through. You were going through a tumultuous time in your life right at that period, and you hadn't even confronted your abuser yet. It was about to happen soon. And so that doesn't surprise me that you became a criticizer. And look, I picked up a lot of things from my dad, and I hate it to this day, that I became an angry man in my late teens and into my 20s. And you wouldn't know that today with who you know now, but I was a very angry man because I saw anger on display, and my face being the recipient of punches like all the time. And so you not pick up on that stuff? So then that anger becomes, I want to speak to your manager. And
It does.
and when you have that hurt in your life, the whole hurt people, it's easy to criticize within that context, which is why I always now try to show love and compassion to those people, because they're projecting that anger onto me through their criticism of me, but it may not be for me at all.
That is such a sign that Jimmy has gone one step deeper and has found some personal growth. That is it right there. The fact that you can look at somebody else and receive criticism from them, and then turn around and go, I wonder why they're doing that, instead of being upset or having some reaction or being angry or just like sitting. Listen, we're all human beings, and if somebody's criticizing me off of a useless, it's not helpful at all, and they're just throwing it out there, I'm gonna be a little upset. Okay, I'm gonna have frustrations, but at the end of the day, I am gonna take a pause. Criticism is an opportunity to take a pause and search it out. Okay, what are they saying? Why are they saying it? Is it them projecting their own insecurities, their own problems, their own things that they should perhaps turn the mirror around and kind of, hey, maybe you need to check on that yourself? Or is it real? Is it truthful? Is it something that I do need to work on? And then that's when you have to go, hey, one step deeper, and like the source. Who is this?
Yeah.
And Jimmy called me today, and I was having a conversation with Jimmy, and he was like, hey, matter of fact, I'll bring it up. Jimmy has brought this to my attention many times. I am aware of it. He said that I have high highs and low lows. I have really great high energy, high output, high content days, and then I will be followed a couple days later by just depths of the dark in the closet, just hard emotional days. And he's brought that to my attention, and he's always curbed it with, hey, I love you. I'm here for you on either day, no matter what.
Yeah.
But hey, be aware of this. And so for that, I'm not gonna lie, it was hard. It was hard to hear that, because I am aware of it, but I'm like, I don't know how to fix it.
But imagine if it wasn't your best friend or your husband or Brittany Banky or some other person you love and trust. Imagine it was some rando on the internet that saw a story that you posted, and they saw you saying whatever you say, and they're, oh, well, you're just too, and you've had some of those people that say, well, you're doing it wrong. I forget, there was one that was recent that happened where they called you out, and you're like, bitch, you don't know me. So, but like, that's so key you're bringing up, that if you want to criticize someone, make sure it's someone that you know. Like, you obviously criticize me to the hilt, because I know you have my best interest in mind. You would never do it as ugly as I get publicly, but you have been firm with me, and you have had very clear criticism of things. You kind of have this tendency. Can you, are you aware of it? And we have a discussion, and it's wonderful. No, I don't like it. I don't, just like you didn't like it when I called out the high, low, low thing. But I have your best interest, and I know you have my best interest. So you listen to it, and you're more apt to take it as an opportunity than to turn it back on that person. Well, if you're going to say that about me, let me throw it back at you, because that's what usually happens.
Right.
But the internet, it's all these people that they think they know you, especially, well, you're a public figure now too, being a podcaster, but like, especially when you're a public figure, and he was like, well, you're in the health and wellness space. You've got to be perfect in your weight and health. And I'm like, yeah, fuck you. Like, my niche is those people that do everything right, and they still don't see the results. That's my niche. Yeah.
Hello, right there with you. I don't talk about it because it ain't nobody's damn business what my body looks like or what I do with my body. But I'm that person too, which is why I have such a heart for the people. I have a heart for you because of the people that lash out and act like this. Because I'm like, Jimmy's not the only human being who has this issue. And so when you criticize, it was kind of like the 50 Cent thing when the memes were going around after the Super Bowl and they were commenting on 50 Cent's weight and calling him, oh, he must be dollar now. Like, fuck you. Fuck all the way off about that. Will he ever see it? Perhaps not. But will your friend who struggles with body image see it? Yeah, they will. So maybe shut the front door. I'm so upset today about this topic.
And Lizzo got it quite a bit. And like every actress, like, my God, who was it I was reading about? There was some actress that talked about gaining 40 pounds during the Black Plague. And it's like, look, we're not immune. And it's not just that. Like, criticism goes beyond just weight, but weight's one that you and I know very abundantly that people criticize us about. So it's easy to go there. And I feel like criticizing, just take a breath, guys. If you're on the critical end of things, just take a breath. Can you imagine what would happen if before people criticized, they just said, all right, let me think a second. How is this going to respond in them? What is my motivation for the criticism? Is it to just bring them down and make them feel bad? Or am I truly having a heart? And that's what this guy right before we came on the air was like, I just want to help you. Can't you see that? I'm like, no, because you said I'm sneaking donuts. You said that I'm not doing what I say I do. You say that I'm this and I'm that. And you made up all these fabrications. And then you say, I want to help you. Well, if you made up the fabrications, you don't want to help me because you would have learned those things first before you started criticizing and before you offered your help. Like, even if he wanted to help and even if he had all the best help in the world, I still wouldn't want his help because he proved he's a liar.
Yeah. And absolute painful. It's just an all around no for me. What was his name? American Idol. It's a no for me, dog. It's a no for me.
You know, for me, dog.
Sorry, dog. You didn't.
Randy, just a no for me, dog. But yeah, I think about, so on this topic of criticism, and I am aware of how harsh I can come off on some things that I say. So I've curbed it and I've learned and I've grown. But Wild Man probably gets it the hardest because I can be my full self with him. Even though, Jimmy and I are really great friends and I can still offer him criticism, not quite as gingerly as I would, just a random,
Yeah.
I don't criticize random strangers. I do not. I don't. I do not do that. But maybe like someone that I'm not.
You still try to soften it. You're always like, are you I'm like, I adore you. Like, you could tell me to go to hell and I'd be like, oh, wow, have you been there? So
Oh goodness. But yeah, so Jimmy still gets a little bit soft and softened, but Wild Man does not. And so I try to soften with him, but he doesn't take well to criticism at all. And it's because he was criticized his entire life.
Yeah.
And so if I come to him and say, hey, he's been working big time on emotional health lately, which, lights me up. I'm so excited. But that was hard for him. And it took me saying, hey, honey, you really need to work on this, okay? Like, you're reactive and this is triggering you. This is a place that you need to work. And instead of him like being like, yeah, okay, that hurt, but yeah, you're right. It was always like, absolutely not. Nope, I'm not doing that. And he's never ever yelled at me or raised his voice, but like you can just tell in his demeanor, he's just like, nope, I'm not doing that. Not taking your criticism. Who are you to tell me that? So that's so fun conversation.
Satan.
No thanks. No. No. But he does the same thing that I do. He kind of lets it sit for a while. It takes him a longer time to marinate on what I say, and he'll come back and be like, that thing you were talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I've learned to like marinate it for a second and be like, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Jimmy, I do have highs and lows.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the mature response. That's the opportunity that we're talking about that criticism gives you. I think what happens is people oftentimes hear the criticism and they get caught up in the moment. Here is a healthy way to respond, guys, when you get criticism. Number one, if it's somebody you know, love, and trust, that has to be requisite. If you don't get that, then it's just bloviating in the wind and literally anybody can say anything. All right. So no love and trust. All right. Then they give you the criticism, and instead of reacting, say thank you. I will ponder that some more. And when I've been able to fully process what you're saying here, I want to have another discussion because you took time to care about me enough, love me enough that you were willing to say this. Now, let's talk about something else, but then come back to it later after you truly ponder it. Like, how healthy is that? That's making an opportunity out of the criticism, because it's very easy. Oh, yeah? Well, you're this. Like, that's the knee-jerk reaction that always happens whenever you get criticism. The first thing your brain does is turn it back around on them and criticize them. And it's like, it's natural. What?
Projecting.
Right. It's like, well, you're not perfect, so how can you criticize me? I heard that one a lot growing up. Well, you're not you're not God.
Yeah.
So how can you judge me? And it's like, people, they hear things that aren't there. And, look, I get it. We're human. We're going to have that emotional, guttural. I mean, even your best friend giving you a loving message, you still took it hard. And you've done that a few times to me too. And it's like, but I've come to the conclusion, you have my best interest. You would not do anything that would harm me. So if it sucks in the moment, she wouldn't say it if it didn't have a deeper meaning that would make me better on the other side. And so that's the way I frame it in my head, of not looking at it as a negative, but as a positive. And, constructive criticism, I guess, is the phrase that people use. Not all criticism is constructive, though. It has to be framed in a way to be constructive. And again, it has to be someone knows, loves, and trusts you, and vice versa. Otherwise, it's just, no, I'm sorry. Random idiot on the internet, I'm sorry. I don't give a damn what you think. I see you down there in the YouTube comments. I see you down there in the Instagram comments and Facebook comments. It's like, say what you got to say. And if you can't be kind, I will delete it and block you. But if you make a criticism, but you're not ugly, I will engage with you, because I see it as an opportunity for me to, okay, what are you actually seeing? Maybe you're not articulating it well. Let me try to further understand what it is that you have a problem with. And then maybe you learn a little bit more of my heart. And it comes back to connecting, back to just being human with one another, and stop this. It's kind of the state of our culture right now. There's such a division in the culture that people feel comfortable criticizing because it furthers the divide where they're comfortable.
I can see that. I think the way to turn criticism into an opportunity and to do it the right way, and I'm just going to say there is a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. Vulnerability is the key.
Yes.
And if you are coming and listen, empty criticism requires zero vulnerability. It doesn't require that of you. That's why it's so easy for you to just throw out some bullshit comment of, oh, you're this, or oh, you're that, because it doesn't require anything. It doesn't require you to think for even a second. It doesn't require you to stop as the criticizer to go, how can I say this? There has to be that pause and that vulnerability moment of, am I criticizing this person? Am I offering this person criticism that's going to help them, or am I projecting my own internalized things onto them? It makes you pause, and vulnerability is the key to turn it into the opportunity. And then also vice versa. If you're the person that's receiving the criticism, you have to be you have to be willing to put yourself in a vulnerable state to go one step deeper and ask all these questions of yourself.
A lot of people ask me, Jimmy, how do you get such good deep sleep? Well, there's a lot of things that I do, but one of the newest things that I recently added is this upgraded magnesium from a company called Upgraded Formulas. Go to their website, upgradedformulas.com, and you can learn all about this nano technology that they use for this particular mineral of magnesium. Again, it's called Upgraded Magnesium, and it's got all the different forms of magnesium in it, using the nanotechnology so it gets absorbed a lot better. Guys, I have seen my deep sleep improve by as much as 30 to 40% simply by adding in this product along with sunshine exposure, darkness in the room, cooler temperature, all of the things that I always have done. So again, upgradedformulas.com is the website. Go check them out.
But do you know vulnerability opens you up to more criticism? And I'll give you an example. So I just did an interview with Bella from Steak and Butter Gal. Hi, Bella. She's big time here on YouTube. So go check her out, guys. But she had a wonderful interview with me, and I was quite vulnerable with her. It's Jimmy. I'm going to be vulnerable with her because she was asking about our podcast. She gave us a shout out. So hello to all the new fans that found us from Bella. And wonderful conversation. And we started getting great response from people. Wow, that was so deep, and it really made me think, and da-da-da. So all this great positive. But then you had the negative that were like, oh, well, this is BS. He just needs to get his act together and stop with all this trauma bullshit. And it's like, they took the vulnerability as weakness. And I'm telling you, assume I'm weak. Go ahead. Assume I'm weak. Assume Brittany Davis is weak. I promise you, she's one of the strongest women I've ever met in my life. She has her moments, but deep down inside, she would kick your proverbial ass. And I'll be back here. Go, girlfriend. Go, girlfriend.
Oh goodness. I almost like I guess it depends on the day, but I almost welcome it. I love when people challenge. I get a lot of challenges on my idea of, I don't have to forgive my abuser. I get a lot of pushback in that area. And I've even had people comment on our, when we were talking about that very thing, people comment and say, oh, she just seems immature and like she doesn't know what she's talking about. And I've gotten several comments of people saying she's pretending that she's a professional. And I'm like,
right. Yeah. We had a fan of mine reached out to me and said, I would listen to that One Step Deeper show if you didn't have Brittany on there. I'm like, Brittany is the show. What are you talking? I just come along for the ride. And she's like, well, she's so fake and she's so pretentious and acts like she knows everything. And I'm just like, she's not fake. About as real as they come. She's about as authentic as they come. And lady, she knows more about this stuff than just about any other layperson I know. And you're constantly working on it. But the funny thing is, this person, hi, if you're watching and listening, but this person needs to listen to One Step Deeper. Like, we talk, because she's got big issues. She's all the time posting on her own page, and I'm going, pot kettle black. This is the thing, like criticism. Sometimes you criticize because you see it in yourself, but you're too afraid to tell yourself that criticism.
And that's exactly what I was going to point out, that when that comment came in and you shared that with me, I didn't react in a bad way. I honestly started laughing because I laughed because I was like, oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry for you. Like, that was my initial response of, I felt bad that I could see her projecting that from a mile away. I also understand that I can come off harsh. I know that. And I don't hold back on the podcast because people have the choice to listen. And so if they are choosing to not listen, that's okay with me. It doesn't hurt my feelings, by the way, that person doesn't want to listen. That's okay. She's not ready to hear. I am a very in-your-face person. I am a person that's going to ask you hard questions. I'm not going to straight up criticize you or anybody that's listening because I don't know you. I love you. I value you. I think you are worthy. I think you are incredible. I think you have the ability to receive and give constructive, good criticism, but I'm not going to criticize you because I don't know you. If I knew you, then we could have a deeper conversation.
Yes. I want to mention something. If you invite people to give you feedback on something, then it's okay if they criticize you. Now, they still need to be nice about it, but if you ask for help, then don't be surprised that if some of that help comes in the form of criticism. Well, if you're doing this, you need to improve that, and you're going to get some of that. And look, I think a mature response when you're struggling with something and you want genuine help is to ask for it. And don't be ashamed of asking for it. First of all, I would say find your Brittany or your Jimmy in your life that's your friend that you know, love, and trust. And if you don't have someone like that, go find them. Trust me. I found Brittany by accident. She found me because she read one of my cockamamie books on fasting. So that's how we connected. And then we ended up at Whole Foods, and I did a Periscope video with you, and it was a million years ago now, it feels like. But and then and then we became friends, and now we're close, and we're doing a podcast, and writing a million books together. And so find somebody that you can be that way with, and open yourself up. This is that vulnerability, like we were talking about earlier. Open yourself up for that criticism. Hey, help. You've done that. I've done that to you. You've done that to me many times, Brittany. And it's great because, yes, it sucks in the moment, but when you know that person cares and they really want to see you thrive at your best, there's no greater feeling. I know there's nothing you would say to me that would purposely hurt me. I would hope you think the same thing about me, that I would never say anything purposeful to hurt you. And even if it wasn't purposeful to hurt you and I did hurt you, I still say I'm sorry. You say you're sorry, da da da. Like, that's something I learned from you. I didn't know that before. I just thought I didn't have an intention to hurt you. What do you mean you're hurt? No, you can't be hurt. I didn't hurt you because I didn't mean to hurt you. And you're like, you hurt me. So apologize. So see, that's one example. I'm telling on myself. That's one example of something you taught me.
Yeah. And I loved watching you through that lesson, because Wild Man has also had to learn that one, and even myself. And like, by the way, anything that I talk about, it's not that I feel that I'm professional. It's I have firsthand experience, and I'm sharing my experience and my learn the hard way lessons, and I'm trying to help people learn not the hard way. Because I would be the same way as Jimmy. I didn't mean to hurt you. You're not hurt.
Yes.
But it wasn't about me. But one of the things I wrote down, I was like, this is it. Aristotle says criticism is something that we can avoid easily by saying nothing, doing nothing, and being nothing. And I was like, yeah, pretty much saying that you can't avoid it. It's going to be out there. There's nothing that you can do to avoid it. Being perfect, which doesn't exist, by the way, will not keep you from criticism. And it's something that you have to learn to be very vulnerable within your relationships and vulnerable in your friendships, to receive it if it is coming from a good source, or be like, no, I don't trust you. I don't trust your criticism. And so, but you have to be vulnerable in any state to be able to decipher that.
And let's talk about the personal development that you've done on yourself and its role in this topic we're talking about here today, because I think it's important. 2019 Jimmy Moore would not handle criticism as well as he does in 2022, because I've gotten to the point where I really don't care anymore. I really don't. I'm sorry, haters. I just don't really give a damn what you think anymore. I find it as information, and I try to learn from things like that. I see the opportunity that's there, but if it's just bloviating for bloviating's sake, I can laugh at it. I can post about it and say, yeah, look, I got another idiot today, you guys, and then move on with my life. People, whenever I post those, people are like, oh, well, you're letting the haters get to you. I'm like, no, I'm managing it just fine. I'm having a good old time with it.
No, I'm blasting the people who choose to do this. So number one, they won't do it again. Number two, people will see, I'm not interested in this. And so if you feel that you have the need, exit left, please.
Oh, and they get so upset when I use their username. But if it's a public comment, you already made yourself public. So I will publicly put it on my stories, or publicly make a reel out of it or something. Now, this guy here today that wrote me just before we came on the air, he sent it in a DM. So at least he did that much right. So good job. If he's watching, he's probably not, but good job. And I sent it to you. I cut his name out. You didn't even see who it was from. Name in there.
And I'm glad. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that.
Not that you know some rando that follows Jimmy Moore. I have 21,000 followers. Let's see which one you figure out who it is.
Well, I don't care. I don't care either.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. But guys, this whole idea of criticism, I hope it's helping you, as we always try to do on this show. Rethink, reframe how you see it. It's such a game changer when you realize criticism isn't necessarily the end of the world. Like, it's easy to just throw out a compliment, but most people don't. They don't. They would much rather criticize. And look, I used to work in a lot of customer service types of jobs. One of them was for a very major company located here in where I live, and it's an international company, and they got emails from all over the world, and I was the guy that read all the emails, and it was just criticism, 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 and then thank you, criticism, 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 information, criticism, criticism. It was like the aptness to criticize seems to be that knee-jerk reaction. I want to challenge the One Step Deeper community. We can do better. Instead of criticizing, I want you to reach out to your favorite influencers this week. It might be me and Brittany. It might be people in the nutritional health space, wherever, and send them encouragement. Give them some note that says how much they mean to you, because I can tell you as an influencer, that means the world. Like, I post those on my stories a lot too. Oh my gosh, I get one of those, Brittany, and like 10 hater comments just go away. And it's beautiful. And I feel like we can all do our part to be less critical and more loving and compassionate. And that's the way you can start it, you guys. And look, you never know. You might get a free book from your favorite influencer if they do that, because I've done that a few times. That's just saying. But like, we can be better humans, which is what we try to do on this podcast, make you a better human.
Yeah, I love your suggestion of reaching out to your favorite influencer, but I would say take it more micro level too. Like, reach out. It is not, I've done it more randomly lately, but I used to do it very often. I will pick just a random 2 or 3 people in my text messages that I have their phone numbers. I might not have talked to them a year, and I'll just randomly message them and be like, I hope you have a great day. You're incredible. You're wonderful. I talk to Jimmy every day, and so I haven't ever really done that with him.
She doesn't come very well.
Like my stepmom, I messaged her, a while back, and I just like randomly thanked her. She's in the front lines of the
Black Plague.
She's a nurse. There you go. She's a nurse, and so she's in the front lines of all of that. And so I just I just paused and thanked her. I sent her a long message of just thanking her for showing up every day. And it's brutal. I don't know how many times I have heard her say she's ready to quit. She's ready to be done. I'm done. This is exhausting. And I just thanked her. And so do that on a random, like, instead of offering criticism to people, just offer them love. Good Lord. And you know what? If you offer somebody love, chances are all that they'll start working on themselves. Like, we've talked about this, that you can't change from a place of hate. Right. So don't even offer criticism unless they ask. If they ask, they've opened the door. There's your opportunity. Otherwise, just love them. Just meet them where they are and just love them.
It's funny you say that about the text message thing. I do the same thing. I just randomly scroll and go, oh, I haven't talked to them in a while. Let's just send them a little encouraging note. And it's amazing. That can brighten their day. And maybe they got criticism right before that, and this just softens it. So look, we all are so quick to criticize. I want us to turn that around and be quick to love and genuinely love. Think about the people in your life that you're not like really good friends with, but just kind of acquaintance, and you show them an act of love. Guess what? You just got a friend. I have built so many friendships now, Brittany, not Jimmy-Brittany relationship, friendship, but pretty darn good, because I showed love and care. In fact, I have one friend that came to the birthday party. She wanted to hang out for a few more days. I'm like, yeah, come on. And she's been here with me, and we've enjoyed each other's company. It's been great. And it's that kind of thing. I want to go one more micro level, even from there, from the text. I want you to look at your immediate family, because that's who you criticize and get criticized by the most. And let's be better with one another. Now, that takes a little more gumption. You got little munchkins, and their little minds aren't fully developed to understand this concept. But if you could teach them this principle of love over criticism.
Oh, man, you already know.
I know you do. I know you try to instill this in them as they get older. if you're doing it with them now, as they get older, they will instill that into their life because they'll see the benefit. And plus, they'll see how happy mommy and daddy are.
Yeah, I didn't think that I would have a whole hour on this topic, but turns out I could probably go a whole nother hour. That this last little few minutes that we've had, so much stuff that I could talk about to shift it. But yeah, you're right. Just
next week.
You're right. Just taking this and just on that micro level, just guys, instead of spreading so much criticism, let's spread love. And I know it sounds kind of frou-frou rainbow, but seriously, I'm so serious. Do it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so guys, here in episode 58, criticism is an opportunity, and I want you to see it as such. It's not the end of the world when you get a critic. Now, all the caveats we already talked about in the show. And if it's someone who's some rando and he's ugly and his mama didn't know how to teach him how to talk to people, you have permission to block, delete, and move on with your life. Or if you're strong enough and you've been along in your personal development journey enough that you can see their heart and kind of have a heart for them and go, they have hurt. I want to help. Even though they don't want my help, they want to give me help, but I want to give them help back. They don't have any idea. Watch this. Yeah. And they go and watch what happens. All right, Miss Brittany, take us home.
All right, onestepdeeperpodcast.com is the website. All the past episodes are there. YouTube, Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is where all of them debut. We will be back up this Sunday. Like Jimmy said early on in the show, we were not there this Sunday, but, some things you just can't help with the social media world. Instagram and Facebook, we are there as well. One Step Deeper. We had a question come in this week and it was great. We would love more questions, by the way. Please, if you're part of the community, ask any question that ever comes up. I'd always envisioned that the Facebook community would have people and we would have talking, that it would actually be a community. And perhaps maybe I need to go out there and do a, hey, how you feeling today? Maybe that's what I can do, and I can start to spread some encouragement that way by actually being in the community. But if you ever have any questions, for real, you can do that on the Facebook community, Instagram, on our personal Instagram. Jimmy living low carb man, me becoming Brittany Lee. It's kind of long, but you can find me there. We are a regular traditional podcast. You can listen to us wherever you find podcasts: Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Alexa. And if you happen to be a listener over on Apple, please leave us a review. And listen, we'll accept your stars. We love your stars, but leave us some words. We want to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for always listening, by the way. I'm just meeting the people who talked about the podcast, who just came up to me and were like, oh my God, I listen to your podcast. I was like, you do?
At my birthday party. That was funny. You were one of the stars at the birthday party because they're like, is that the Brittany? Yes, that's the Brittany. I was like, wow, I made my friend into a superstar in my own friend group. So,
oh goodness,
they know who you are. Yeah. And guys, One Step Deeper Journal, the foundation's coming soon. I promise you, you'll know first. We are having to trog through it a little more, so just bear with us. I know so many people are like, you're teasing us. I'm like, no, we really are kind of bogged down in a process thing now. So bear with us. We wanted out 2 million years ago, but we're going to have it at the right time. So stay tuned. And guys, we'll see you again next week.
OneStepDeeperPodcast.com. Have you experienced the dreaded keto flu? Did you know that most of these symptoms are actually due to your body dumping excess electrolytes? This is where Element comes in. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. That means lots of salt with no sugar. Element is formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs and is perfectly suited to folks following a keto, low-carb, or paleo diet. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium, with none of the junk, no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, no BS. Everyone needs electrolytes, especially those on low-carb diets, or if you practice intermittent or extended fasting, if you're physically active, or sweat a lot. Add Element today and see how much better you feel and perform. Use the URL drinklmnt.com/Jimmy.